Your heart was never created to walk through this world without a place to return, without a place to pour out the things you don't know how to explain to anyone else. And the truth is, every human being carries something inside. Some memory, some regret, some hope, some fear. That becomes heavier the longer it stays locked in the chest. We try to hide it from others because we don't want to be judged. We don't want to look weak. And sometimes we don't even know how to express what we're feeling. But the mistake we make is thinking that if we don't say it, it will disappear. It doesn't. Silence may hide your pain from people, but it doesn't remove it from your heart. There is only one who can take what is weighing on your soul and turn it into something lighter, softer, and meaningful. When I say tell it to Allah, I don't mean formality. I don't mean the rehearsed dua that you've memorized since childhood. I mean speak from your heart. Speak like someone who has nowhere else to go, because in reality you don't. The world is full of people who listen halfway, who care conditionally, who judge quietly, who forget quickly. But Allah listens fully. He cares without limits. He knows every tear before it falls, every fear before it surfaces, every anxiety before it makes your hands shake. And the biggest tragedy in a believer's life is not that they experience pain, but that they carry it alone when they have a Lord who is closer to them than their jugular vein. You see, there comes a point in life where the weight inside you becomes louder than the world outside you. You wake up and your chest feels tight. You pray but your mind is everywhere. You smile at people but your heart feels absent. And you keep telling yourself, I'm fine, I'm fine. But internally you're breaking piece by piece. At that moment, Shaitan whispers, don't make dua, you're too far, you've made too many mistakes, you're not good enough. And if you listen to that whisper long enough, you start believing that your silence is safer than your supplication. But that is the greatest deception. Allah does not turn away those who turn toward Him. The doors of mercy don't close because your heart hesitated. The angels don't stop writing your duas because you feel unworthy. In fact, the moment when you feel the most distant is often the moment when Allah is preparing you to come closer. When you finally sit alone, with no distractions, and you whisper even the smallest dua, something happens. A shift, a softness, a moment of honesty between you and your Creator. And in that moment, you feel seen, not by people, not by the world, but by the one who never needed you to explain yourself in the first place. That is the beauty of telling Allah what you cannot tell anyone else. You don't need the right words. You don't need strong iman. You don't need perfect focus. You just need sincerity. Even if all you can say is, Ya Allah, I'm tired, that is a dua. Even if all you can do is cry, that is a dua. Even if your tongue stays silent but your heart is screaming, that is a dua that reaches the heavens faster than any words you could ever say. And the more you open your heart to Allah, the more you realize that the burden you thought would crush you was actually the thing that brought you back to Him. Sometimes Allah allows heaviness in your chest so that you remember the place where relief truly comes from. Sometimes He takes people away so that you rely on Him fully. Sometimes He delays your dream so your heart learns sabr before it learns success. And sometimes He lets you fall so that you discover how deeply you need Him. This world will never stop giving you reasons to worry, but Allah will never stop giving you reasons to hope. When you sit in dua and say, Ya Allah, you know what I cannot express, that alone is enough to change the course of your destiny. Because dua is not just asking, dua is surrender. Dua is saying, I admit I cannot handle this alone. And Allah loves when a servant returns to Him with that level of humility. People might call it weakness, but in the eyes of Allah it is strength. It is faith. It is courage. You were never created to be independent of Him. You were created to need Him, to seek Him, to find your peace in Him. And let me tell you something. The tears you shed for Allah are not a sign of emotional instability. They are a sign that your heart is still alive. The heaviest burden in the world is a heart that has stopped feeling. If you can still cry in dua, still tremble in fear, still hope for forgiveness, still long for guidance, then you are more blessed than you realize. Allah gives softness only to those He intends to keep close. The hardness of heart is a punishment. The softness of heart is a gift. Every time you speak to Allah, you are not informing Him, you are transforming yourself. You are decluttering your soul. You are washing away what the world kept placing inside you. You are resetting your inner world in a way no human conversation can ever do. People can comfort you temporarily, but Allah can heal you permanently. People can hold your hand for a while, but Allah can hold your heart forever. People can offer sympathy, but Allah offers solutions. And when you begin to build this habit of talking to Allah, something shifts in how you see life. You stop expecting perfection from people. You stop attaching your happiness to their approval. You stop breaking over the things that were never meant to sustain you in the first place. You become anchored, grounded, centered, because your relief no longer depends on the world around you, but on the Lord above you. So whatever is sitting on your heart right now, whatever guilt, whatever fear, whatever sadness, whatever confusion, don't keep carrying it. Don't pretend you're strong enough. You weren't meant to be. Put it in your dua. Put it in your sujood. Put it in your tears. But don't keep it in your chest. Tell it to Allah. You don't need the world's shoulders, though your heart often convinces you that you do. You look around and see people who seem confident, composed, steady, and you wonder why your own heart feels so unsettled at times. You try to talk to people, hoping they'll understand you the way you understand yourself, but you walk away feeling emptier than when you began. And slowly, without realizing it, you start relying on people who were never meant to carry what's inside your soul. The truth is, you are asking the creation for something only the Creator can give. People can care, and they often do. They can listen with kindness. They can offer advice from the little knowledge they have. They can try to comfort you with the best words they know. But they can only meet you where their limited humanity allows. Even the most sincere person can misunderstand you. Even the most compassionate friend can overlook the details that matter. Even the person who loves you most in the world can fail to see the storm inside you. This isn't because they're bad, unloving, or careless. It's because Allah didn't design the human heart to fully carry another heart. He didn't give us the capacity to fix the wounds of others. He gave us the capacity to empathize, to support, to care, but not to heal. Healing is divine, healing is His, and sometimes Allah allows you to experience these quiet disappointments not to break you, but to redirect you. You keep searching for someone to fully understand you, someone to fully support you, someone to be the perfect listener, the perfect comforter, the perfect place to lean. And every now and then, Allah lets you see the limits of people so that you finally turn back to the one whose mercy has no limits. You learn the hard but necessary lesson. People are a gift, but they are not the solution. They are a means, but they are not the source. There is only one who listens without distraction, only one who understands without explanation, only one who knows the story behind every tear before it falls. And the more you reflect on this, the more you realize how different Allah's compassion is from human compassion. People get tired. Even the best of people have moments where they cannot give you what you need. They have their own worries, their own anxieties, their own internal battles. You might pour your heart out to someone who is, at that very moment, struggling silently with their own pain. And even if they want to help, even if they want to be there for you, their capacity is limited. But Allah does not get tired. Allah does not hesitate. Allah does not push you away. Allah does not say, "I'm busy," or "I can't handle this right now." His door is open in every moment of the day, every moment of the night, even in the moments when you feel too ashamed to knock. And there will be times when your heart feels heavy and you think, "I wish someone could just understand me fully." But understand this. Allah doesn't just understand the words you say. He understands the words you cannot say. He sees the tears you hide. He knows what you don't even know how to express. When the world becomes too loud, your dua becomes your sanctuary. When people fail to understand your pain, your sujud becomes your silence before the one who already knows everything inside you. You don't need to edit your thoughts. You don't need to justify your emotions. You don't need to impress him with perfect eloquence. You just need to be honest, and when you speak to Allah with that honesty, something remarkable happens. You stop expecting people to be perfect for you, and you start appreciating them for who they are. You stop seeking validation in places that were never meant to contain your worth. You stop leaning so heavily on the weak when the strong is waiting to support you. You stop feeling disappointed by the world because you stop expecting the world to do what only the Creator can do. There's a kind of peace that comes only when the heart finally admits, I don't need anyone more than I need Allah, and this isn't arrogance. It isn't isolation. It isn't rejection of people, it's clarity. It's knowing that your anchor is divine. Your stability comes from remembrance. Your strength comes from placing your trust where it belongs. When your heart finds Allah, it doesn't stop loving people. It simply loves them correctly. It no longer demands perfection from them. It no longer collapses when they fail. It no longer breaks when they disappoint, because the foundation holding your heart isn't built on people who change. It's built on the one who never changes. And think of the times you felt a heaviness that no one could understand. Think of the nights when you cried quietly, hoping no one would notice. Think of the moments when your mind was racing, your chest was tight, and you felt alone even in a room full of people. Those are the moments when Allah was closest to you, waiting for you to speak to Him, to turn toward Him, to hand over what was crushing you. He doesn't ask you to carry your pain alone. He doesn't ask you to pretend. He doesn't ask you to be strong for Him. He asks you to come to Him as you are, broken, confused, exhausted, uncertain, and He promises to mend what people cannot touch. And sometimes people will walk out of your life. Sometimes the ones you trust most will let you down. Sometimes the support you expected won't arrive. But losing people is not the end of your story. Sometimes it's the beginning of your closeness to Allah. Sometimes Allah removes a shoulder you were leaning on, so you finally lean on Him. Sometimes He closes a door you loved, so you finally walk toward the door that leads to Him. And sometimes He keeps you waiting, so that your heart becomes stronger in dua than it ever was in dependence on people. You do not need the world's shoulders. You need Allah's mercy, because mercy doesn't run out. It doesn't walk away. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't forget you. You can call on Him at the lowest point of your life, at the darkest hour of your night, in the quietest whisper of your heart, and He responds in ways more beautiful than anything you could ever imagine. Tell it to Allah, you're not tired. You may feel tired. You may describe yourself as tired. You may convince yourself that exhaustion is the reason your goals remain distant and your life feels stuck. But deep inside, you know it isn't. Tiredness, it's something much quieter, something much more hidden, something we don't like to confront because it forces us to look in the mirror with honesty. It's a lack of discipline. And discipline isn't a punishment. It isn't a harsh, rigid lifestyle. It's the structure that allows your dua to become reality. It's the bridge between what you ask Allah for and what you're willing to do for it. But when that bridge is weak, everything you're trying to cross collapses before you make it even halfway. Most people don't wake up exhausted from doing too much. They wake up exhausted from doing too little of the things that actually matter. They feel drained not because their tasks are overwhelming, but because their distractions are endless. They blame their bodies for what their habits have caused. They say, I'm tired, but what they really mean is, I'm inconsistent. They say, I need motivation. But what they really need is routine. They say, I want change, but they don't want the discomfort that change requires. And this is the battle almost every soul goes through. You sit with your dreams, your aspirations, your duas, your goals, and they excite you. You imagine a better version of yourself, a more disciplined version, a more productive version. But imagination is easy. Desire is easy. The hard part is aligning your actions with those desires, and the hardest part is staying consistent once you begin. You start strong for a day, maybe a week, maybe even a month, but life gets busy, emotions fluctuate, distractions appear, and suddenly you're back where you began. Not because you failed, but because you lost discipline. Allah doesn't just see your intentions, He sees your efforts. And if you truly believe Allah is capable of granting you what you're asking for, then your actions should reflect that belief. When you say you want success, yet your habits contradict success, your heart feels the conflict. You might not admit it verbally, but internally you know the truth. You're not tired. You're avoiding discipline because discipline demands consistency, and consistency demands sacrifice. Every dream has a cost, and the price is always paid in discipline, and discipline is not about doing everything at once. It's not about perfection, it's not about punishing yourself for every mistake. Discipline is built slowly, quietly, in the invisible moments when no one is watching. In the moment you choose to get up instead of snoozing the alarm. In the moment you choose to focus instead of scrolling. In the moment you choose to continue instead of quitting. It's the daily choice to honor the future you are asking Allah to give you. You see, the problem isn't that your goals are too big. The problem is that your habits are too small for the goals you're praying for. You ask Allah for success, but your routines reflect comfort. You ask Him for clarity, but your lifestyle produces chaos. You ask Him for strength, but your discipline weakens at the first sign of inconvenience, and Allah, in His divine wisdom, will not give you something you are not prepared to hold. If He granted the result while your habits remain fragile, the blessing would become a burden, so He waits. Not because He is denying you, but because He is training you, and training is uncomfortable, growth is uncomfortable. Discipline is uncomfortable, but so is regret, and the pain of discipline is temporary, while the pain of regret lingers, sometimes for years. Discipline demands energy at the beginning, but eventually discipline gives you energy, clarity, and stability. The things that once felt heavy become light. The routines that once felt difficult become natural. And the goals that once felt impossible become achievable. Many people misunderstand discipline as something harsh or unnatural. But discipline is actually a form of mercy from Allah. It pushes you to rise above your laziness, your excuses, and your distractions. It teaches you to value your time, your purpose, and your potential. It keeps your soul focused, your heart steady, and your mind clear. Without discipline, even the smallest task feels too big. With discipline, even the biggest task feels manageable. And the beautiful thing is, Allah rewards every step of discipline. Every time you push yourself for His sake, He sees it. Every time you fight your nafs, He records it. Every time you resist a distraction, He appreciates it. And even when you fail because you will, He rewards the effort you made before failing and the effort you make when you begin again. People see your results, but Allah sees your struggles. People see your achievements, but Allah sees the discipline behind them. People see your progress, but Allah sees the nights you pushed through weakness to honor the goals you asked Him for. And maybe that's what we need to understand. Discipline isn't something you do alone. You don't rely solely on your own strength. You rely on Allah to strengthen your discipline. You ask Him to support your effort. You ask Him to purify your intentions. You ask Him to give you consistency, because human beings are naturally weak. Allah says this clearly. But He also says He supports those who strive. Those who take even one step toward Him, He comes to them at a speed unimaginable. And when He supports you, your discipline becomes easier than you ever expected, and you might wonder, why is discipline so hard at the beginning? Because you're fighting years of habits, years of comfort, years of excuses, years of patterns that shaped who you are today. Change doesn't happen by wishful thinking. Change doesn't happen by motivational quotes. Change doesn't happen by one emotional moment. Change happens when you repeat small acts of discipline every single day, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it, your future self is shaped by the discipline you choose today. And if you ignore discipline long enough, life will force it upon you in ways you don't like. If you don't discipline your time will discipline you. If you don't discipline your habits will destroy your potential. If you don't discipline your emotions will control your life. And when you think about the person you want to become, the life you want to build, the destiny you're praying for, understand that dua without discipline becomes wishful thinking, and discipline without dua becomes arrogance. You need both. You need to rely on Allah while building routines that honor the blessings you're asking Him for. So ask yourself with honesty, are you really tired, or are you avoiding the discomfort that discipline requires? Are you exhausted from working hard, or exhausted from lacking structure? Are you overwhelmed because your goals are heavy, or because your habits are weak? The moment you admit the truth is the moment your life begins to change. You're not tired, you're undisciplined. But you can build discipline, you can reshape your habits, you can redefine your path, you can strengthen your routines. You can align your dua with your daily actions, and once you do, you'll see how quickly Allah opens doors you thought were locked. Tell it to Allah. When you ask Allah for something, you're not just making a request, you're declaring a direction for your life. You're saying, Ya Allah, this is the path I want to walk. But the moment you make that dua, a responsibility is placed in your hands. Because dua opens the door, but effort is the step you must take to walk through it. And discipline is what keeps you walking even when the path becomes steep, even when distractions call your name, even when your emotions shift from excitement to exhaustion. This is where most people struggle, not in asking, not in dreaming, not in hoping, but in building the life they are asking Allah for. Every blessing has a weight, and before Allah places that blessing in your life, He strengthens you through patience and consistency so that the blessing doesn't break you. You may pray for success, but if you cannot control your habits, success will overwhelm you. You may pray for peace, but if your mind is filled with noise, peace will slip away from you. You may pray for opportunities, but if discipline is not part of your character, opportunities will come and pass because you won't be ready to hold on to them. Allah, in His wisdom, prepares you through struggle so that your blessing comes at a time when you can protect it, sustain it, and appreciate it. Think about the moments when you asked Allah for something with sincerity. Think about the tears you shed, the hopes you whispered, the dreams you shared with Him in the quiet of the night. Those moments were real, they were honest, but what follows dua is just as important: your actions, your commitment, your effort. If you ask Allah to guide you, you must walk away from environments that lead you astray. If you ask Allah to strengthen your iman, you must fight the laziness that steals your prayer. If you ask Allah for success, you must discipline your time, your habits, and your mind. Because the life you pray for cannot be built with the same habits that created the life you want to escape. And building that life is not easy. It requires you to confront yourself. It requires you to face your weaknesses instead of hiding from them. It requires you to change routines you've grown comfortable with. It requires you to let go of behaviors that once felt harmless but are now obstacles in your path. Change demands sacrifice, but sacrifice is not loss. Sacrifice is transformation. Allah doesn't take something from you unless He is replacing it with something better. He doesn't ask you to give up your comfort unless He is giving you growth. He doesn't ask you to remove your distractions unless He is preparing you for clarity. And clarity is one of the most powerful gifts you can receive. When your heart becomes clear, you stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop entertaining distractions that destroy your focus. You stop investing your energy in people who drain your spirit. You stop giving your mind to thoughts that pull you away from Allah. The clearer you become, the stronger you become. And the stronger you become, the more consistent your discipline grows. Discipline is the backbone of every answered dua. There is a beautiful harmony that happens when your actions align with your prayers. When you make dua for guidance and then discipline yourself to walk in that direction, Allah increases your clarity. When you ask Him for success and then discipline your habits, He expands your opportunities. When you ask Him for peace and then discipline your tongue, your environment, and your thoughts, He places tranquility in your heart. You begin to see doors opening where you once saw walls. You begin to see progress where you once felt stuck. You begin to feel a strength inside you that you know isn't just yours, it's a strength Allah placed in you because you took the first step. And sometimes the path becomes slow. Sometimes the progress seems invisible. Sometimes you feel like you're doing everything right, but your dua still isn't answered. But what you don't realize is that patience itself is part of the building. When Allah delays, He isn't denying you, He is refining you. He is shaping your character, He is strengthening your heart, He is preparing your soul so that when the blessing arrives, it finds a place worthy of holding it. And in those moments of delay, your discipline matters the most. Anyone can be consistent when results are visible. But true sincerity shows when you stay disciplined even when nothing seems to be changing. You don't need to move in big steps. You don't need to transform overnight. You just need to be consistent in small, meaningful actions. One small improvement in your prayer, one small change in your routine, one small act of self-control, one small moment of resisting a temptation that normally wins. It is these small acts, done consistently, that build the foundation of the life you are praying for. And the beauty is that Allah sees every small effort, even when you overlook it yourself. He sees the moment you force yourself to get up for Fajr. He sees the moment you turn away from a sin no one else knew you struggled with. He sees the moment you close a door to protect your heart. He sees the moment you push through laziness for His sake. He sees the discipline that no one else applauds. And He rewards you in ways you cannot imagine. The life you want is not built by wishful thinking. It's built by dua, effort, patience, and consistency. The dream you carry in your heart is not impossible. It is simply waiting for you to become the person who can hold it. Allah will not give you a blessing that your discipline cannot protect, and He will not deny you a blessing you are sincerely working toward. When your actions align with your prayers, the path opens. When your discipline aligns with your dua, the doors unlock. When your heart aligns with Allah, nothing is out of reach. Tell it to Allah.